evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Tuesday, November 1, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Large-scale survey and mapping of Guyana's land surface begins. Feedback from electoral reform consultations mostly positive, says TEIXEIRA. Opposition says will support constitutional changes to include biometrics for voting. Government MULLS hiring private firms to tow vehicles that illegally park in city. One arrested after gunmen robbed SUPERBET outlet in BERBICE, and Region 8 man fatally chopped to head. Now for the news in detail. Considered an undertaking of significant importance, authorities have commenced an aerial survey and mapping exercise across the country using the latest light detection and ranging, or LIDAR, technologies. The Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission and the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, today announced that activities will be conducted in the coming weeks by international expertise provided by Medici Land Governance and its partners. The aerial survey will use an aircraft carrying LIDAR sensors and mapping cameras to collect highly accurate and detailed LIDAR and orthophoto maps of the land surface within targeted regions. The data collected will be processed to produce digital terrain models and map imagery for extracting infrastructure, water features, and 3D building models. The resulting data would then be entered into key layers to update the national base maps, which are over 50 years old. At the end of the exercise, over 500 square kilometers of the urbanized land area, nearly all of Guyana's urban footprint, and over 1,500 square kilometers of the rural area will be surveyed using this new technology. Enrique Moniz, Commissioner of GLSC, has explained that even though LIDAR has been used before in Guyana, this is the first large-scale activity that also combines the traditional imagery with that of LIDAR for mapping purposes in the country. This activity is part of the objectives of the Sustainable Land Development and Management Project, which seeks to advance technology in land management and development. The project is being implemented by GLSC and the FAO with funding from Guyana's Rett Plus Investment Fund. Contrary to reports from the opposition, Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Gil TEIXEIRA is maintaining that the feedback from those who participated in the recent consultations on electoral reforms was generally positive. Gerald Bryan reports.
Last week, the Guyana government held consultations on draft amendments to the Representation of the People's Act. During the consultations, opposition members walked out. They subsequently criticized the consultations and the amount of time that was allowed to participants to air their grievances. In a statement on Monday, Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Gil TEIXEIRA defended the exercise and noted that contrary to reports, she only spoke for 7 minutes. She also noted that Attorney General Anil Nandalal, who gave an overview of the bill, spoke for a little over 1 hour. This left over 2 hours during which a number of participants posed questions and concerns and made recommendations for the bill. In fact, TEIXEIRA noted that the feedback from participants regarding the consultations were largely positive. During a press conference on Tuesday, Opposition Leader Aubrey Norton defended the opposition's decision to walk out of the consultations.
When you get to the actual consultation, if you set up a 3-hour consultation, which you claim more than 100 people, and 2 minutes to talk for 2 hours in a 90-minute session, there is little or no scope for you to become involved in meaningful discussions. And when it was recognized by the opposition team that Anil Nandalal and Gil TEIXEIRA were bent on talking all the time and not allowing meaningful consultation, our delegation left, and correctly so.
The consultations, which were live-streamed from the Artichon Conference Center, in fact lasted for 4 hours. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
The Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change Coalition opposition has announced that it would be willing to support legislative and constitutional changes if brought by the government to include biometrics for voting. Here is Gerald Bryan again with the details.
During his press conference on Tuesday, opposition leader Aubrey Norton said his party wants biometrics to be made a condition for persons to vote. The only requirements for someone to vote, as set out in Articles 59 and 159 of the Constitution, are that they be 18 years or older and that they be a Guyanese citizen or a Commonwealth citizen resident in Guyana. It was pointed out to Norton that any deviation from this could set the stage for the elections to be overturned. According to him, however, the Constitution and corresponding laws can be changed with their support.
We can go to Parliament and change the law, and all the issues they would have raised become passé. If the government comes with a proposal to give a credible list so that we get credible elections, the opposition will work on them on the issue.
Norton was also reminded that the opposition has a history of not cooperating with the government on various issues, such as the composition of the Natural Resources Fund committees. Despite the investment and oversight committees being appointed months ago, the opposition is yet to submit their nominees, as the law provides for. However, Norton said that changes to the Constitution that his party is calling for could open the door for them to cooperate on other issues.
It might very well pave the way for us to cooperate on other issues, but you're not going to seek to dominate and control and want us to cooperate. So you can say to the government, this is a good opportunity for you to engage the opposition. And once we can get over the hurdle, we would have created conditions propitious to getting over the other hurdles.
This comes as the government is preparing to embark on constitutional reform consultations early next year. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Recognizing the major inconvenience caused by drivers illegally parking in the city, Home Affairs Minister Robson Ben has announced the possibility of government outsourcing towing services to private firms to better tackle the situation. Here are the details from Bisham Mohammed.
To better clamp down on vehicles that operate illegally by double parking or parking in no parking zones in the city, Home Affairs Minister Robson Ben has announced that government is contemplating contracting private firms to start towing away those vehicles.
I have been thinking recently of outsourcing the towing services to private people so that the double parking, the blocking of people on the roadways, which creates a lot of congestion, if we outsource that
very good
activity,
yes,
it will go a long way along with the backup of the police force to making our city or roadways safer, less congested, and a less stressful undertaking in terms of using the roadways.
He made the announcement on Monday evening at the launch of the Road Safety Council's magazine and website. The magazine is in collaboration with the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Guyana Police Force. The collective effort is to strategically and effectively improve public awareness of road safety. According to the Home Affairs Minister, speeding and inattentiveness continue to be among the leading causes of accidents on the roadways.
From the statistics of the Guyana Police Force, we see that speeding is a critical issue on our roadways. Speeding, inattentiveness, and driving under the influence. We can move the ball forward in improving these issues. We have to ask our policemen, of course, or traffic police, to make an extra effort this season. We're going into the holiday season just now to bring about a significant change in these issues.
Moreover, Minister Ben said he wants to see an increase in the usage of ticketing system for traffic offences.
The amount of tickets which the police have been giving out on the road has fallen behind that was given out last year. And I think that is one thing which we have to pay attention to, and our traffic police have to pay attention to give people tickets on the road and not tell people to go to the station where there's a lot of wastage of time.
Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Gunmen last evening stormed the SUPERBET outlet at Farm Village, East Coast BERBICE, where they robbed the establishment and several customers of over $600,000 in cash and valuables. Our BERBICE correspondent, Andrew Carmichael, reports that so far one suspect has been taken into police custody.
At about 20 hours on Monday, gunmen stormed a SUPERBET outlet located at Farm Village, owned by Diochan Hemchan and Bibi Hemchan and operated by Monishwar Ramkishan. At the time of the incident, there were about a dozen customers at the establishment. Two of the robbers reportedly had handguns and another, a hammer. One eyewitness said When the robbers began their operation, they thought it was a Halloween prank. But Bibi Hemchan said she immediately took evasive actions after she saw 3 men running into the building.
I can't say what it looked like, but I find something's not right. Why they run like that? And we went through the robbery already. I get scared. I just come out in front and just press the door down for come down. And why is the door coming down? I saw them run in the yard. When they run in the yard, they come run at the SUPERBET. When they run at the SUPERBET, they tell everybody to lie down and don't say anything. So when, I don't know how much of them come in, but one of them run at the boy in front and grab his chain. When them grab his chain, they won't look at me. But same time the door was coming out, so he even can't get me.
Ramkishan, who also operates another SUPERBET outlet in East Kanji, said one of the bandits also damaged equipment at the business place.
The man saw a wipe in front of the shop, come straight to the back. And I saw like 2 or 3 body. Lash one man and was him with a hammer. And I kick one him on the head till about 10 kick or something. And then I knock when I SUPERBET in front the prospect and knock the prospect at the time I open the door. So I open the door, man. I'm going to hit me down. I tell him, just say, go in there, call him money, and he gone. They hit one by with a gun and then run out.
Ramkishan said the intruders took $290,000 from his business and also a gold chain from him worth $158,000.
When I watch through the window, they get everybody down. And they rob everybody at the SUPERBET and included the SUPERBET buy.
And what they had in their hand or so?
They had, I see 2 of them with one gun, and one of them had the hammer in them hand.
3 of the customers reported to the police that they were robbed. Overseas-based Novishkar Sanghadio, 27, was reportedly robbed of his wallet containing a driver's license and other documents, along with $200 US. Parmeshwar Prasad, 30, of New Street, Cumberland, East Kanji, claimed that he was robbed of $45,000, while 33-year-old hire car driver Sukhdev Kadanot told the police that he was relieved of a gold chain worth $180,000. There are reports that other customers were also robbed, including one who had his ring bitten off of his finger. The men reportedly left and went into the next yard and scaled the fence and made their way into the back dam. According to Hemchan, they called the Lewis Manor Police Outpost, which is a stone throw away, and were told that there were no patrol at the outpost and one will be coming from New Amsterdam. According to the police, a 35-year-old farmer from West Canefield, East Kanji, has since been arrested. Deochan Hemchan feels his business place is being targeted. This is the 4th time bandits have carried out a robbery at his premises.
It was very bad to know that people keep coming and rob weed. I could not understand why they came and rob us so many times. I mean, we're not that rich. We have a small business that's operating, and I don't know why people come and robbing us.
Police are still on the hunt for the other suspects. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
A young man who has been identified only as Busmouth was this morning killed by a gang of men during a drinking spree. The incident occurred at Konawaruk, Region 8. Reports are that the victim and a group of men got involved in an argument during which Busmouth was chopped to the back of his head and reportedly died on the spot. Police headquarters have not issued any information on the incident, but this newscast understands that the suspects escaped. In fact, an eyewitness related that the suspects are a known gang in the area who would often cause trouble at the landing where interior workers would gather to relax and imbibe. Coming up, CAD $2.25 million project to close gaps, promote rights among females, and Sophia Bridge roads to be revamped following ministerial visit. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Contractors, let the quality of your road constructions speak for themselves by investing in a walk-behind vibratory roller from Sylvies. Apart from improving productivity, our roller provides better compaction for soil and asphalt. Designed with the ability to turn, this machine also offers great flexibility for precise work near walls and sidewalks. Order it now before it's gone at sylviesonline.com or at our 31 High and Hatfield Street store.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. National Road Safety Month, which is being observed under the theme Safe Driving Saves Lives, was this morning launched with an interfaith service. Lawana McAllister joins us now to report that for this month's activities, the National Road Safety Council plans to strengthen the involvement of school children in its awareness campaigns and programs. Here's more.
The Guyana National Road Safety Council, together with the Guyana Police Force under the auspices of the Ministry of Home Affairs, have a series of events planned in observance of Road Safety Month 2022. This is according to Minibus Association President and Public Relations Officer of the Road Safety Council, Ian Andrews, who expressed optimism about the role school road safety patrols can play in heightening road safety consciousness and reducing accidents involving children on the roadways.
I always feel that, or I think it should be that whenever you want to get something solidify, you start with the young ones so they can grow with it in them. Because there are a lot of mature persons who are already spoiled, but they're not lost. But we are going to try with them.
To this end, he said that the road safety awareness activities will not only be for this month, but will continue for as long as they can.
The awareness doesn't have to be just for this month. We're going to ensure that traffic awareness and traffic safety is something that must be instilled in persons each month of the year.
Apart from schools, the council will be targeting businesses, minibus operators, hire cars, and truck drivers. Lawana McAllister, The Evening News.
The CAD 2.25 million Equal Sexual and Reproductive Health Rights project, launched in Guyana on Monday, is expected to protect women and girls in Guyana, including indigenous and Venezuelan migrants, by enhancing their ability to make decisions about their sexual and reproductive lives. More in this Rupasina report.
Launched by the United Nations Population Fund in partnership with Canada and Guyana, the project also aims to strengthen systems to prevent and respond to instances of violence. It will enhance access to and use of quality reproductive health and rights, information and services, especially for survivors in Regions 1, 7, 8, and 9 in Guyana. The project will target indigenous women and girls, Venezuelan migrants, persons of diverse gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation, persons living with disabilities, among other groups. Officer in charge at the UNFPA Sub-Regional Office for the Caribbean, Joel Roseberg, expressed that this mechanism will add to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals, particularly 3 and 5.
UNFPA believes that the initiatives such as Equal SRHR are an imperative to assist Guyana to attain its development goals. We aim to improve access to the services for women, girls, and vulnerable populations, essentially those who are most at risk. The vulnerable groups include persons of diverse gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation.
Meanwhile, Canadian High Commissioner Mark Berman announced that the project comes at a strategic time since accessibility, affordability, and availability of sexual and reproductive health services without discrimination continues to be an issue.
The project will help women and girls to have body autonomy and to make essential decisions about their own bodies. There are still pockets of the population that are unable to access sexual and reproductive health services and support for victims of gender-based violence, and that's why this project was conceptualized. The focus, as has been said, will be on increasing the access and quality of these critical health and support services to women and girls of regions 1, 7, 8, and 9.
Human Services Minister Dr. Vindhya Prasad zeroed in on the fact that Guyana has moved up on the World Economic Forum Global Gender Gap Report from 53 to 35 within a short period of time.
We didn't move 5 places or even 10 places, and that speaks to the phenomenal insight that the government has when it comes to key indicators and key areas that we as a government must address as it relates to our boys and girls and our men and women. I say boys and girls because along this journey it is essential that we cater for our boys who will definitely engage the attention of our girls and vice versa.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Rupa Sinarayan joins us again to report that the major rehabilitative works which have been announced for B-Field, Sophia, Greater Georgetown will see roads and bridges being revamped. Here are the details.
This facelift was promised following a ministerial visit in the community of Sophia, Greater Georgetown, by Housing and Water Minister Colin Crowell, Tourism Industry and Commerce Minister Onish Walrand, Minister within the Public Works Ministry Deodat Indar, and Minister within the Office of the Prime Minister Kwame McCoy. A technical team would have inspected the infrastructure, and according to Minister Deodat Indar, a majority of the roads need immediate intervention.
We went through all of the cross streets, them apart from the main access road. Now on the main access road there's a massive piece, about maybe 300 feet of consistent failures where there's no road actually. There's just some little asphalt with dirt and it's slipping into the trench. So that needs immediate attention. The cross streets where the residents are living, especially the one Samaru Street where we went, there is a daycare center there. We find that the mothers have to lift their children in their arms and traverse that into the mud. So that needs immediate intervention. I'm not gonna lie to you, most of the places we came here, save for a few roads, needs immediate attention. The roads, there's no road. There's just a free space with mud that people walk in.
Coming out from this inspection, Minister Indar announced immediate interventions to fix the dilapidated structures and provide better infrastructure to residents.
We will definitely have some immediate interventions, and well, we have to look at what envelope of spending we have to see how much we can do, when we can do it, and how we can stagger the implementation of the work. But I can tell you, this bridge is the main thing. Some of the streets, they need immediate intervention. Our government philosophy is that every community will be uplifted, so we have to make sure that we do our part here.
Meanwhile, Minister Crowell pointed out that a team from his ministry will return to the community to work with residents occupying the reserve, since the current main road needs to be wider.
This is one of the main access roads, so immediately the team will come back, and that's from the Community Development Department and Central Housing, to work with those persons who are occupying on the reserve, because we need much wider use of the current road that this is. You see the traffic that is flowing here, and so this road actually helps to ease some of the traffic from going on to Sherry Street. We have a new housing scheme that is opening at the back here, which is one of the main point of access for the Cummins lot 1767, 1768. So we'll work immediately with those persons here to have a relocation and removal on the reserve itself.
Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
In an effort to raise awareness of Rett syndrome, a neurological genetic disorder, Precious Angels, a non-profit organization, on Sunday hosted its 4th annual awareness walk, which saw scores of people from all walks of life participating. Here is Rupasina Ryan once more with the details.
The walk started at the Muslim Youth Organization ground and made its way to Lamaha Street, then onto Vicinjan Road and into Thomas Lands and back to the starting point for a brief program. During the program, Dr. Malaika Mutu, a private pediatrician, stated that children who are diagnosed with Rett syndrome need a lot of support.
Children who have Rett syndrome need a lot of support, because as you've probably heard, there is yet no cure for Rett syndrome. And because Rett syndrome has so many symptoms, as I said, it affects so many parts of your body, it has a lot of overlapping symptoms with other illnesses. So with autism, with cerebral palsy, and so many times children are diagnosed late with Rett syndrome. So one of the things that we are trying to do here today is to raise awareness of Rett syndrome so that people know that if you see certain symptoms, it may be Rett, it may not only be autism or cerebral palsy.
Dr. Mutu stated that the disease affects almost every system in the body, leading to seizures, loss of speech, loss of motor skills, diminished eye contact, breathing problems, washing of the hands, and scoliosis. In addition, she noted that due to the many symptoms associated with the disease, it tends to overlap other illnesses.
It's caused by a mutation and it's on a particular gene called the MCP2 gene. And so there's a lot of research going on about that particular gene, how to reactivate it, a lot of research in gene editing. The future does look hopeful for Rett. In the meantime, what we do is we support the children by giving symptomatic support.
The youngest daughter of businessman Azruddin Mohammed is the first case of Rett syndrome in Guyana. Amani's sister, Arya Mohammed, explained that this is the fourth awareness walk that was organized to educate parents about the symptoms of the disease.
We want to raise awareness about it because some parents may not know that their children have this syndrome because it is very rare and it takes many blood tests to find out.
Residents of Region 2 will no longer have to travel to Georgetown to access dialysis treatments, as a new dialysis center has been commissioned at the Suddy Regional Hospital on Monday. The establishment of the center is a joint initiative between the government of Guyana and the 5G Dialysis Center. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony explained that the dialysis service is a very significant aspect of healthcare, and persons across the region have been trained to provide the service and cater to patients. Meanwhile, in another major development for Region 2, a newly purchased river ambulance was officially commissioned on Monday by Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony. The ambulance is expected to boost healthcare service delivery in the region, particularly in regard to health emergencies. The Ministry of Health noted that the ambulance is part of a $24 million project. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, November 2nd at 12:30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the BERBICE River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Wednesday, November 2nd at 11:30 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Athletes book spots at IGG after trials, and Gaioil League, Dolphin, West Renville script big wins in final leg. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality, men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands, and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.